last year, I broke up with a really toxic ex-boyfriend of mine, Hayden. He cheated on me constantly throughout the relationship and would gaslight me into believing that's what I deserved and I could never do better than him. Well, I was stupid and believed for the longest time that a guy like him was all I deserved. But then I finally confided in my family, and they gave me the strength to finally break up with him. It was honestly the best feeling, and I felt so liberated. Well, I wish that feeling lasted, because when I finally broke up, Hayden did not take it well at all. He would call me and text me saying how I've just made the biggest mistake in my life. He would say there's no guy in the world who would love a girl as ugly as me like he could. Yeah, he was a piece of shit, believe me. But I stayed strong and just blocked him on everything so he couldn't contact me. Now at that time, I did have my own small apartment in New Jersey. After we broke up, I hated the idea of being alone and decided I would start seeing other guys. I met this new guy, Charles, on Bumble, who was the complete opposite of Hayden. We really hit it off on Bumble and started seeing each other pretty regularly. It was so refreshing being with a kind and gentle man for a change. Well, one Friday night, Charles and I came home late from a movie. We were going back to my apartment, and as we were walking up the steps, we noticed that my front window was smashed. There was glass everywhere. Concerned, I opened the front door and we started inspecting the apartment together. I should also note that I had a Sphinx cat, TT. As Charles and me were going through my apartment, I was calling out to her, but she wasn't coming to me, which is not like her at all. We get to the bathroom and flick on the lights. Inside my bathtub, we found TT. It was honestly a bloodbath. She had been stabbed dozens of times and just thrown into the tub like a rag doll. I seriously couldn't process what I was seeing when we heard a noise come from down the hall. Charles goes to check it out while I stay in the bathroom to process and mourn TT. Soon though, I heard a scuffle. I went into the hallway and see Charles and horrifyingly Hayden fighting. And I was so fucking scared. They were both yelling and fighting so violently, but Charles was able to punch Hayden directly in the jaw and knocked him out cold. He made sure Hayden was neutralized while he yelled for me to get the cops over here. The cops came out to my apartment and ended up arresting Hayden for breaking and entering, assault, and killing TT. He was also found with a knife and hammer on him. While he was being handcuffed, he called me a dumb bitch and said he'll find me one day and make me pay. Charles and I ended up moving out of New Jersey altogether to a different state. Because of Hayden, I lost my cat and my sense of peace. I have no idea if he's still in jail or has gotten out. He honestly is the devil, and I'm so terrified that he will find me one day. So my boyfriend Ricky of 8 months broke up with me out of the blue a few years back. His reason? He wanted to sleep with other girls, and I wasn't pleasing him enough in bed. I cried and begged for him to stay so we could work on things, but he just cut me off like cold turkey. It seriously was one of the lowest points in my life, and I battled with depression and separation anxiety. But thankfully, I have a good support group who really helped me get through the darkest part of my life. Well, get this. It was a few months after Ricky split up with me, and I'm finally starting to move on and rebuild my confidence, when out of the blue, Ricky calls me. He acted like nothing had happened and said he was ready to get back into a relationship with me. I nearly laughed at the audacity of this jerk. He literally broke my heart, wanted to bang other girls, and then expected me to just take him back. Well, I didn't. I told him straight up he's a bitch and I'd never take him back. But he would keep calling and texting me, saying that he knows I'm lying and how we're actually still together. Eventually, I just stopped responding to him altogether. Like, I realized how manipulative and evil he was, and I wanted nothing to do with him. A few weeks go by with no contact from Ricky. I'm at a brunch with some of my friends when Ricky sends a text message. And I opened it, He had sent me pictures of my sister's house and her husband's cars in the driveway. He sent a follow-up message saying, "Don't make me do this." I called my sister and warned her about the photos and messages I got from Ricky. I don't know what he meant by, "Don't make me do this," but he was acting like a maniac. At this point, I should have gotten the police involved, but I really just thought he was bluffing and trying to be dramatic. A few days after that text, I was at work. I worked for a small retail shop in town when this guy comes in delivering me an edible arrangements fruit basket. I read the card attached to the basket, and it said, "Take me back now, or your niece dies. See if I'm kidding." It was signed by Ricky. I called my sister and her husband. I warned them again that now I'd gotten actual threats of Ricky harming their daughter. He crossed the line here, and we had to get police involved. I showed them the text messages he sent and the edible arrangements note. And can you believe this? Ricky ended up only getting a misdemeanor. No jail time or anything. He's still out there free and walking around. He hasn't tried anything, most likely because my sister is married to a sergeant in the army and who would quite literally kill Ricky if he tried anything. But still, Ricky is a coward and would never fight fair. So far, he hasn't reached back out or done anything to my sister and her family. Hopefully he's moved on and is now someone else's problem. I dated this guy Vinny back in 2022. Things had moved pretty quickly between us, and we ended up getting an apartment together. Even though my parents warned me against it, I still did it. Well, not long into the relationship, Vinny said he was going to go over to a friend's house to watch the football game that night. He knew I didn't like football, and I didn't come with him. I just so happened to check his location on my phone, and noticed that he wasn't at anyone's house. He was at some dive bar like 20 minutes away. My anger kicked in that he would lie about this to me, and I drove over to that bar without telling him. I get there and find him sitting at the bar with some blonde chick who had his hands all over him. I should have handled this better, but I blew up in his face. I made a huge scene at the bar to the point where I was actually kicked out. In the moment, I didn't care. It was so satisfying seeing the look of horror on his face, knowing that he was caught lying and out with some other girl. Well, I break up with him, and we end up breaking the lease early on our apartment. My parents were right. I shouldn't have moved in with him. I end up moving back in with my parents because I had nowhere else to go. Vinny had a good job, so he was fine financially. But what he wasn't fine about was losing me. The entire time, he was apologizing and saying it was just a moment of weakness. He'd never done something like that before. I grew deaf to his petty excuses and told him to never contact me again and blocked him on everything. Well, almost a week being moved back into my parents' house, I was up in my room rearranging things when I heard the doorbell ring. Mind you, it was like 10 p.m. at night. I listen and hear my mom go and answer the door. I start to hear yelling and shouting, but I recognize who was shouting back. It was Vinny. I went to the edge of the steps and looked down. Just as I did, I see Vinny punch my mother square in the face. She fell backwards. Vinny looks up at me with a look in his eyes that I've never seen before. They were wild and unhinged. He said he's going to kill me. He was about to charge up the stairs at me when my dad came in and tackled him. They fought for a bit on the ground, but my dad ended up overpowering him and slamming his face onto the floor. Long story short, Vinny was arrested on multiple charges of assault and battery. I'd come to find out, he showed up drunk and his only plan was to hurt me and anyone who got in his way. My mom had a concussion, but she's okay now. I still live with my parents and haven't been on a date since. I need to get my life in order before I do. Thanks for listening.